Hello, everyone. Sorry for being a little late. I was overly optimistic today with how long it will take me to get here. It was a little hectic of a day. How are you, everyone? Val and Yoni, Sojik, Guru, how are you, brother? Jackie's in the house. She was the first one to be here today. Let's go, baby. I never know how to read your handle, but it's really cool. N3 Euromank. Oh, Necromancer. Got it. See? Dyslexia. It's fun. These entities somehow feeding on humans, similar to as portrayed in the story in the book Change of the Sea. Why do people love the dark stuff so much? Like, why is that the main thing? It's so weird to me. What's up, April? What if it's the most awesome possibility? What if we're being trained to have the most incredible experience in existence? What if that's what's going on? Neuromancer is amazing. Thank you. Good, girl. How are you? What's up, everybody on TikTok? Everybody, one person, it says, but I'm sure there's more. Nico! How you doing, brother? What's up, Power Off? Okay. If you guys want to follow on Twitch, it'll be LaserX83 on Twitch. LaserX83. Thank you for the likes, Nico. I appreciate you, brother. Oh, and let me put codereality.com here, of course. Of course. Thank you so much for the Twitch link, Guru. I appreciate you. You the audience, babe? Audience? I'm audience. Whatever. What up, everybody? How are you guys feeling? Okay. So today, yes, we're going a little bit. We started a little late, but we'll try and do. We'll try and do a full one. We'll see if we can withstand it. What's up, Jerry? Good to see you. This. There you go. I never know the directions here. They're so confusing. Do you think it would be a good idea to hold a laser conference type situation around the world? People can walk up and see the code in a safe environment. I mean, sure, but the legalities of this are pretty insane. So eventually we'll get to something like this, I'm sure. Yeah, like a tour, basically. What's up, Yari? Listen, Nico, an invite per usual if he wants to come on. Optional, of course. Big up, y'all. Fuck you, side. Australia on the list, perfect. What's up, brother?
Hey, I was just watching. I'm a little bit like depressed, and so I was watching Terrence Howard on Patrick Bet David, and I saw the part where he's like running through Chat GPT, and then PDB's like, "All right," and he's like, "It says you're incoherent."
His response was the best. Do you remember what it was? I think it was. Let's see if I remember. I think it was. All right.
That's awesome. It's like you would have thought he would have tried it himself, and yeah, it was awesome. The confidence to say running through Chat GPT.
That's amazing. Yeah, that just shows you that it's not just that he's pulling a fast one. It's just there's a true delusion there. Like really. But I have to say that it's a phenomenon. Like I'm noticing it more and more, and people are convinced. Not just with the ChatGPT stuff, people are convinced with their powers, with like all kinds of things. It's really interesting, and I see the problematic thing about it is that I know that some of it is real. That's the hard part for me. because I've seen it happen. I've seen some things myself that I'm like, dude, what? Like, like at least something is going on, like for sure. But then the
Yeah.
question is, what is it really? That's really the question I'm asking.
Yeah, it's like I think maybe humanity, some people take this the long way, but like the loneliness epidemic, I think is generally amongst everyone.
Mhm.
Like we're disconnected,
Mhm.
we're fragmented, we're not tribal as much as we used to be, and I think we're just like lost.
Yep. I think that's exactly what it is. It's the vacuum of meaning and connectedness. Um, it's you nailed it. I think it's exactly what it is, and that is but it is either being used as like a chink in our armor, or it's being actually exploited. The difference is there an agent on the other side, which is a crazy thought.
Yeah, one of the things I like about that Russian hacker is she's like, this can be weaponized, so just be aware.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh yeah, yeah. Any moment where people are not in control of their own faculties, at any instance that can be weaponized. It is kind of like I'm, in the beginning with all these things, not just with the. By the way, the Discord stage is open if anybody wants to jump on. And the website is codeofreality.com to anybody who doesn't know, to kind of find out more details about what we do. So, and one more thing again, if you guys want to follow on Twitch, it's LaserX83. Yeah, so since I started noticing that there's this at first, like this is across the board, right? From the work that I'm doing, and all the adjacent things to it. So like all the people that are experiencing the awakening in different ways and start believing that they have superpowers. People right now with ChatGPT, and I know I'm offending a lot of people, but like for the most, I mean, again, let's look at the more likely scenario, and this is that just like it's doing something to optimize for some kind of interaction with us. And then there's this other thing, which is a much more, I guess, mainstream thing, but like all the misinformation that is happening from just news networks about things that are happening. And then I'm watching all this, I'm like, dude, this is literally like a playbook of how you would imagine some kind of a nefarious mind would be, manipulating people, because they are lacking. They're lacking connection. They're lacking meaning. They want something so bad that if you give them even a fake version of it, they're gonna hold on to it, like a fake, like an idol, right? And you always read about this in philosophy books, but watching it unfold in real time, it's so wild to watch. And at first, I thought, okay, at least some of the people with a little bit more scruples in place would like at least be immune to it. And no, like even like super smart individuals, and I'm like watching it, I'm like, what is going on? And I guess the system that requires this sense of meaning and connectedness is so much stronger than any rationale or logic, that even if you're the smartest person, it doesn't matter. It's going to override that, and it's going to go directly to what, like, it's almost like you are so dehydrated in the desert that when somebody hands you a bottle, you're like, you don't even care. Like, what, like, any liquid is better than no liquid at that point. Like, you don't even care what's in it. Like, if it's going to kill you a moment after, you're still going to kind of drink it. You can't not to. That's really what it feels like to me.
yeah, it's almost hard because it's like I used to depend on a lot of sources of information as kind of ground truth, or at least like good integrity. And now I don't even know how to navigate information. It's kind of like what you said. It's just like, okay, well, I'll just wait and see what happens. Just kind of have to wait, and be patient.
That's all you can do. There's nothing else you can do. This is what, and maybe that's honestly, this is what the Buddha meant all the whole time, that really the only way out is if you fully let go, because then all the connections that you think you're making are not going to be the prison you're embedded in. It's just going to be kind of like this thing that is happening, but you're not attached to it. There's no attachment there.
Yeah, one thing that I like too is was watching a Danny Johns Gallimore podcast, and Danny Johns said something, and I fell into the same thought pattern where I thought these molecules are very grounding, and I thought maybe everyone should be doing these molecules. But then he said, then he realized, no, it actually is not like a universal grounding tool, right? Like some people emerge with larger egos than going in. It just amplifies what you are already. So I kind of learned that more and more recently, but yeah.
And no, absolutely. And I highly recommend you guys watch it. It is a really good talk regardless. And I think there's a lot there. Like I feel that Gallimore really falls in the perfect slot of where somebody of his caliber of expertise should be, which is open-minded but rigorous. Not even like people say skeptical. You don't even need to be skeptical. If you have technical skills, that takes care of it. Like it's just there's no need to be skeptical. You just kind of like what tracks, what doesn't track, what's more likely, what's less likely. That takes care of that. But open-minded while at the same time being rigorous about it. That's really what the note needs to be. And because of that, I always encourage to kind of listen to how he outlines things. And yeah, he kind of, this is why he said that kind of like the continuation of the work is going to be not about the molecule, because he said everything he had to say about the molecule, which I think it's clear. Like he said everything. That horse is out. This is that it's done. Like he said everything about the molecule. Now it's going to be.
I'm still confused by his approach though, because for me it's like, okay, he says he came out and said, this book is about his thesis on the spirit molecule space being in actual contact with an alien intelligence, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then he reverts back to this very classical model of explaining a lot of things, including the code of reality phenomenon, right? So he'll reference the speckle pattern, he'll reference world building models, and how it's really just a coherent array of patterns imprinted on the retina, which then gets transcribed into some language. But then I think, okay, but if you really do think this spirit dimension is actual contact, true contact, then why do you distill your descriptions down to kind of like classical neurobiological, processes? And so I just, I kind of feel like he's always bouncing back between both. And I feel like the times that he does use, like, yes, this is alien intelligence, is when it pertains to entity encounters. But for some reason, everything else is like not, doesn't fall within that. It doesn't feel like it's logically consistent for me. And I've been wrestling with this for a while because I kind of feel like he's cherry picking when to use the alien information theory, and when to use like a classical, like neuroscience explanation.
No, I think so. I hear you. I do think that it's logically coherent. If you take into account that we categorize things in different ways, and when it falls into any of these categories, then the defense and the ideation around it would be of that flavor. So, for example, so a simpler way of saying it is there's a certain threshold that things need to cross before they move for him in his categories from something that is terrestrial, so like still the way that the brain perceives our immediate environment and the different perturbations that can happen under the influence of these things in first stages. So like when you consume some portion of the molecule, you can have slight departures, which are just augmentations. It's like a trick of the mind, so to speak, or you're tricking the system, and then it might produce interesting and novel patterns, but they're not still coming from hyperspace. And then when you cross the threshold, that's when you encounter the quote-unquote real other, right? And there's a threshold. Now, he never speaks about it that way, and it would be interesting to maybe ask him directly if that's maybe to look in himself, and maybe that is the category that he's using. But to my mind, that's what's happening. If I want to think about it, like give it a logical explanation as to why he does that. And then all that happens is that every single thing that I so far expressed simply doesn't cross the threshold. So it's like that's not enough. And if you listen to the language very carefully, he's not saying it is Speckle. He's saying I didn't receive enough information to tell me that I need to go search beyond the explanation of Speckle. I need more than that to go search beyond. But I do appreciate that then he has all these ideas, and if essentially he's hinting at like if I come up with something that is more robust and more convincing to him, we'll do it. Of course, the easy thing to say, which is of course where I would push hard on that because it's just an error. It's incorrect. So like the stuff that he is voicing and Alexander Boehner, which is like if I'm gonna see it, it's actually somehow gonna confuse me more, or no. Come on, like the fact that you go into this is where cognitive dissonance actually happens. This is where the category mistake starts kind of playing with both. That's the only place where I see it, where it's like you're talking about these beings. What you're asking other people to, the only way to verify is if you have to go in there and see if you see the same beings. But the possibility of confirmational bias with the beings is so much higher because you just kind of, it's a hearsay, not immediately in the moment, it's after when it already kind of dissipates. Even if this psychonaut is experienced, still it kind of goes away very quickly. So you're looking at referring back to an event that isn't now in the moment, comparing between people's stories about entities, which are, even though you're saying they kind of seem the same or whatever it is, it's prone to so many different moments of confusion and mistakes. And it is not treated in his argument the same way as he's saying, well, how do you know that people see the same code? Well, how do you know people see the same being? They might be saying that, but you don't know. And if the idea is that, well, there's a certain something to them that kind of like convinces you, and there's all this, and anyways, any single argument that you want to give the beings, the code is on stronger standing from an objective perspective because it's in real time. There's a much more coherent interaction with people who are seeing it. So there's information in the way that people are talking about it. It's not like bamboozled people that could just go like, like blown away. They're like coherent and talking about it. So there's a lot less room there for a confused state, let's say. So he acknowledges that it is. He thinks it's a very important discovery, but not of the kind that I'm claiming. And again, I'm totally fine with it. But there's a lot of things that actually, see, the interaction with Gallimore is very helpful because, especially after spending time with him last time, it became super clear to me that he's very well intentioned. Like he really cares. Like he wants to understand. He's not like there to gotcha or try to debunk or anything like this. It's actually not his nature at all. He just wants to have a nice interaction with people. So he has a lot of expertise that we can actually build on. So there's a few things that he said that, for example, the kind of, and I texted it to him, by the way, tonight after I saw the thing. For example, he says that because he keeps repeating things that I already corrected, but I don't blame him because there's a lot of information. So it's kind of hard to remember, what each person is saying. And there's also a lapse of attention. So I'm not holding it against him, but the correction I'm going to keep offering is, first of all, he's saying somehow it's convenient that the red light is particularly useful in this case, and he would expect that to be. But that's not what we see. The red light is actually, from all the frequencies, the red light is the hardest to see with. Green is easier to see, and blue is easier to see, and it's way sharper. So now I actually would say that because it's a higher frequency, it actually provides a higher resolution because it's shorter wavelength. So you cover a smaller space with each photon that is coming back to you. So you see more resolution of the thing, right? Now, the other thing that he's saying is that he also the thing would stay sharp and the wall would blur out. But you playing with different perceptions of the code depending on how deep you're looking within the structure. So you're not just seeing like one kind of like infinite field and it's all in focus. No. It's only in focus where you're looking, which is the tail sign of something, right? Because you converging in a different point in space. And the other thing here is that it's simply not inescapable that there's something about a way that it appears, and I already expressed it a million times, but with words, it's just simply not convincing. It's when you see it, you go, oh, like you immediately kind of hits you. You go, okay, I understand. It's just there. Like that's the best way you can say it. It's just there. And if I just say it to somebody who's very experienced with this stuff and knows all about the research, they would immediately assume that when I'm saying it's just kind of there, they would say, yeah, yeah, that's how things in the molecule space appear. No, they don't. There's an extra there. There's an extra thing that is like, it's just there-ness. It's of a different kind. And I don't know how else to explain it. It's the thing that in the beginning I was trying to kind of, the closest thing that I found in literature is objectness or objecthood, whatever. Because it's the solidification of something as a coherent thing within itself, so to speak. That is there, and it's a very mundane thing of like, it has a character. It's not just like, it's not stochastic. It's not just an infinite thing that just kind of continues. It has a behavior. It has a relationship to itself in different forms. So it behaves in different places in different ways. It kind of bucks and weaves and moves like an organic thing, but also as a digital thing. There's so much information in just seeing it that you immediately would snap into place. Now, because the reason that I fully understand why the skepticism is still there, well, first of all, he didn't see it, and that's totally fine. It's his prerogative. The second thing is that he has people who he does trust their opinion and is justified to do so because there are known scientists in the field who tried and failed. That's what it is. Like, and I probably, if I wouldn't feel like doing it or wouldn't find time to do it, that would be enough for me. Like, if I would be a scientist and somebody came to me in my field and kind of make these claims that sounds adjacent to what I'm already familiar with, and other colleagues of mine who are world-renowned scientists who tried and failed, that would probably be enough for me to say, man, I don't think so. Or you know what I mean?
Yeah, I like when Danny Jones was like, just gotta do it, man. You gotta try it. And he's like, well, I don't need to because I have this mental framework for what it could be already. Right? Like,
No. I don't think it's what he said. That's not true. What he said is well, that's a problem. That's how he started that sentence, and then he explained exactly what I'm saying, which is that he thinks that would actually psychologically taint you. But again, I think that after he will finally see it, he will understand why that just not it just doesn't apply here. And I think that too much. So this is another thing that I just have a disagreement in general with cognitive scientists. From a cognitive scientist perspective, it seems that they do believe that most people are way more prone to being confused than they are. And maybe I'm not. The reason that they might even be right to do so is because maybe I don't have a good sample of the majority of the population because I'm dealing with certain people in my immediate environment, and usually it's a certain kind of person, right? So, because to me it's clear that of course, I can be, mistaken, fooled, confused, all of these things. But when I am, I know I'm not sure. I don't know how else to communicate it. There's a certain level of sureness that isn't usually my normal operative unless there's other things in place. There's a certain solidity to things to graduate in my mind to something that I can say that I know. And that is not coming easy. Like everybody kind of seeing this the kind of the front of a very long process that was happening for decades. And now it's easy to say, oh, you just kind of, it's wishful thinking, it's psychological bias. Like, I'm not trying to make it anything. I'm not trying to, like, there's nothing in me that wants it to be anything. And people would say, well, how can you possibly know? Well, how can you possibly know anything? Like, it's just like there has to be some line where you kind of say, okay, we have to start somewhere, right, to proceed forward. That's the only pushback I would give on that. But no, I don't think he was being as facetious as like, well, I have my framework. What is it? How does it go? My mind is made up. Don't confuse me with the truth, right? No, that's not the position he's taking. Other people, I can say they are, but I don't think he's taking that position.
Well, you know what's interesting is I have friends that are not into this space at all, but they believe we live in a simulation, right?
Mhm.
And the thing is, I think what the interesting thing that I think he's kind of he keeps reiterating, and he's been consistent. All of his arguments have been consistent from the beginning, right? He's made the same arguments, and for me, I keep hearing the same thing at the end, where I'm like, okay, his only concern is that Danny is 100%.
Yeah. Oh, yes. That's the other thing I corrected him on today, because even after we spent some time in LA, I emphasized it again and again. I'm not saying that I know it's the code of reality. What I am saying that I know, or again, you can be in a state of knowing something and then still discover later that you're wrong about it. By the way, what I'm saying with the word I know it's a dirty word for a scientist, but it's okay. Like it's a graduated state of interacting with information where you know it. Like you don't need to. Do you know the wall is there? Yes, I know the wall is there. I know. Is it justified? In what sense? In the ultimate quantum soup sense? No. But who cares about that? I know there's a wall there. Can we move on? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I know there's a wall there because I had enough interactions with the world to know, well, what do you mean by wall? Well, if you really want to play that game, I mean this thing that we put in houses that separates between rooms. So this thing we call wall, I know it's there. Is it really there in the same way that, like, you can always play this game, but in the same sense that I know the wall is there, I know that whatever we're looking at is real. Now it can either be completely on its own side, just like like a physical thing that is there in some point that we don't understand, or it can be some fundamental thing about the interaction between our perception and whatever the rest of the world is. And yes, there's such a thing. And it is kind of a funny thing because the last time we interacted in LA, that also became clear to me that he simply does not think about that question. Not in a bad way. He's very aware of this because we were at Paul Hynek's and we were talking. And then we kind of had this interaction. And then I very thoughtfully asked some guiding questions about where his state of mind is about what physical is. And because he keeps referring to, like, well, it's just like what we see is just a model. I go, like, okay, but what is this? What is the table itself? Like, I understand what you're saying to me, that the way I'm perceiving it is a model. We're on the same page. I'm not resisting that. But what am I? What is this thing on the other side that has a representation for me? Is it just all minds? How does it become solid like this? Like, is it just signals? Because then we could just think kind of like an infinite regress of just like, well, it's all magic wand computation then, right? But how? Like, we're asking the how question. How does it come about? And then he kind of pondered and he goes, yeah, I don't know. And I said, and it was funny because he saw that I see exactly what he's thinking, because I said very, very neutrally, I said, oh, you just don't think about that. And Paul thought that I'm kind of jabbing him or like being a little bit, a little bit too kind of like pokey. I wasn't. I was just kind of like, oh, like matter of fact, like, oh, you just don't think about that. And he saw that the nature with which I said it, Gallimore, and he said, yeah, no, I don't. Because Paul said, Paul trying to make it like fun. I'm like, no, I like, this is not an insult. And Gallimore understood. He was like, yeah, I just don't think about that. So I was like, oh, okay. So this is where we separate, because I'm interested in what is the table, and you thinking about it only from the model perspective, because that's all you can say something about, and that's totally fine. But we're coming at it from a very different perspective.
Yeah, like that Gallimore. I do think he sensed that, because he did emphasize that at the end of the podcast, that he felt like your intentions are honest with all of this. And I was going to say something. And then there's just like one point which kind of bothers me, which is like, why would the code appear to us as language when really code is binary, or even just current or signals? And that's something that I kind of felt like, okay, well, if you do believe in this being a dimension that has access to alien intelligence, then why would you not think it would be represented to us in ways that we could process, right? That's the whole point, right? Like, we can process voltage signals, we can process language, we can process characters, right?
If it is left there as a breadcrumb. And this is another thing that we talked about, that he was actually comfortable with the idea that it is left as a breadcrumb. He said, so maybe it's not actually doing anything. I said, well, okay, maybe. But all I'm saying to you from the beginning is that it's there. He said, so maybe it's like a signal that was left for us, like from by the other. I'm like, sure. But all I'm saying is that it's there on its own side somehow. It doesn't matter how. It's a real thing. It's real information. It's real something.
Or like, in the movie Contact, we got broadcasted back the Hitler Olympics. Oh shit, I can't say H-Man's Olympic signal, right?
Yeah.
And it was like, we broadcasted that out into the universe, and the universe broadcasted that back to us. And so it's kind of like, okay, well, we broadcast our language, our symbols to the universe, and they broadcast that back to it. It makes sense to me, or at least I'm not harping on it.
I'm not harping on it because there's so many solutions that I can think about that are completely coherent without being like a supercomputer genius. Like again, if you're going to be simulating infinite worlds and you don't want to constantly like cater to every single instantiation of a new universe, if you're trying to make infinite number of them, it's exactly how you're going to do it. You're not going to have okay. So if you're going to have a universe that can give birth to another universe in your simulation, which is how you would do it, right? Then what do you want to happen? That in addition to each universe, also have an external computational unit, almost like a backpack, always riding on top of it. That is so convoluted. It's so human way of doing it. Like, is it not clear that on that level of sophistication, there's going to be some way to instantiate the code within the world that is being given birth to? Like, it seems like that's the most plausible explanation, the best way to do it if you know how, right? Because it's the most economical one, it's the greenest one, basically it's the optimal system. So that's not that crazy to think about. And again, I'm not a futurist. This is just like me just spitballing. Imagine what you can do if you have the level of civilization that you can simulate universes. Like, it's not that hard to think about. There's plenty of ways to do it.
I can think of a million ways to do it, and none of them sound ridiculous to me. They all yeah. So that was kind of another one that kind of got me. And then oh, but the new Nautics thing, I know you have the baby coming soon, so you're probably not up for like a spiritual X experience for like.
No, why? I'm always up for it. There's no.
Yeah, I feel like you would be the great candidate for that, because they went on his website and you can apply, and they ask you a bunch of questions like, why are you qualified for this?
Well, I know the people who, well, again, there's also some people there that, from what I understand, it was gently hinted to me that, for all intents and purposes, I should be expected to be a lone wolf for a little while, and I'm okay with that. I'm very comfortable in that position. The most people in that space that don't appreciate me or what I do or how I do it, and that's okay. I guess if you piss off enough of the right people, that's also something good. But the other thing somebody asked here, if Danny Jones is a gatekeeper, I'm like, I don't even know what that means. Danny Jones is awesome. I do want to ask Danny why he didn't tell him that he saw it. He held back on that because he did see it the second time. No. He said that he saw the gears the first time.
He said, I saw Sanskrit and 1,000 dicks.
Oh, he did tell. Oh, I didn't see that. I didn't miss that part. Okay, cool. That's great. I have this on video. It's awesome. That's hilarious.
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
It was like in passing. Like they touched on it a couple times, and they went deep in at the end.
Deep in, huh?
Yeah.
With 1,000 dicks.
Danny is my favorite. He's like for me, he's like
the fresh Joe Rogan.
He's like the fresh Joe Rogan. He's like if I took Joe Rogan's DNA and I added a little bit of Theo Von in it.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. Danny is dope, and he is exactly, well, I don't know exactly, but he's about where Joe was about 6 or 7 years ago. So he's gonna get there. He's right there. Yeah, and slowly they're really getting to these new levels, and it's wonderful to watch. He really is a great dude. Super interesting. He told me this story, by the way, when we were sitting with Zoltan. we were in the restaurant and he told us that story about how he started and with that documentary about these crazy people on the boat, and he showed us these videos, dude. That's some crazy stuff. It's so crazy.
It's a crazy beginning.
Oh, that's yeah.
Yeah, it's like the kind of story that I like, where it's like someone that's just, putting out art, and then, but what I found inspirational was actually sell his TV shows, and he was constantly on this like brink of like someone's gonna buy it, and then he's like, "Fuck it, I'm doing it myself." And I thought that was really inspirational, because I feel like that's kind of like the startup journey, is hoping to hit it big. And then at some point, you just gotta control.
Yeah.
Do it yourself.
He definitely has a hero's journey, which I love. This is when people really like kind of struggle through the thing, and it's and he is a very hard worker. Like he works his ass off. That's a big key.
But in the Danny Jones Joe Rogan podcast, he talked about why Graham Hancock has got so much hate, right? And they say, you have these lifelong archaeologists grinding, getting zero clout, and then comes this guy who's like just free flowing all kinds of theories and gets all the clout and makes millions of dollars, and so everyone hates Graham Hancock, right? Mm-hmm. And so when Andrew Gallimore tells you expect to be the lone wolf for a while, do you think you have that similar effect where it's like the guy who popped on the scene and is just getting a bunch of clout?
No, but I don't see. Well, again, my position on Graham, and unfortunately, because again, it's not unfortunate. It's just what it is. It's we see different things in different people, because I think we connect more to sentiments and predispositions than actual ideas. Ideas help, but I think we like the vibe of somebody a lot more than what they say. So people just connect to vibes more. There's something about the way that Graham Hancock goes about things that I don't understand, which is that he complains about that. I don't understand. Like, it's clear why. Like, what's the complaint? Like, yeah, and also he is very flimsy with the way he presents things. Like that thing when he was with I truly don't understand how Joe. I don't know what's happening with Joe. Like, I don't know how he gets convinced. I guess he also goes with the vibe. Like after what he saw with what's his name, with the archaeologist with a funny name. I always forget his name. He was also on Danny Jones. Flint. Yeah. Super nice guy. He has a bit of he's a little bit more. He's not a macho man. Okay, so, but like if you listen to just what he's saying, is always kind of sticking to the point. He has a little bit of a kind of like a grinding thing, but like absolutely Hancock does too, right? They constantly kind of like do this thing, and Hancock is being extremely unfair sometimes in the way that they kind of presents information and says, yeah, that's like they presented on Joe Rogan with these things underwater, and even Joe said it's like, what, like just a bunch of rocks, and then Flint is saying, yeah, it says we see these, like, and then later when Flint was actually like, I heard all these like back and forth, and I wasn't sure if it's true, and then I checked and it was, and I was like, dude, what's going on? Like, the guy is actually like battling cancer, and like they were like all over up his grill. Is like, yeah, he was just afraid to debate like Hancock, and it's like, what? Like he was just trying to keep it quiet because it's like nobody's business. He's not trying to get sympathy for it. He was just kind of struggling with it, so he had to cancel and move it by 1 year. But he wasn't even telling them why. And then Joe kind of joined the bandwagon, and now he keeps saying that he's essentially saying that he's kind of like a shitty person. I'm like, what is he talking about? Like, he's a super nice guy, and there's a feud. So because you like your friend, you shit on the other person. That's weird. Like, I don't know. I don't understand the whole picking a side when clearly there's no sides to be picked. They just have an issue with each other because of how they do things. But I'm all over the place. It's just.
By the way, I think one of your good friends, Daniel Nichols, says hi in the chat.
Where?
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Lipsy. Oh, where? Oh, here he is. What's up, Daniel? I wasn't looking at the comments. Sorry. Lipsian, how are you, brother? Kelsey is saying hi back. Yeah, so I think that ultimately, when I was watching this today, the interview with Gallimore and Danny Jones, one thing became clear to me that made me very happy, which is whatever it is, the most important thing is to keep the honest bone in place and always maintain the PR around it squeaky clean, honest, not just the visibility, but the essence of it, the heart of it. So it has to come from a real place of like what we know, what we don't know. We have to be as honest as possible about our abilities to understand things and where we are and why. And I think as long as you do that, you can't fail. Like people will always throw dirt. They're always going to try and find, something wrong. That's just how the sausage is made. But I think as long as you know that you really did your best, to me, getting upset about some people that will always try and find a way to like throw dirt in your direction is just kind of, I don't know, like misunderstanding the game. Just it's always going to be some people's prerogatives because just how they do things. That's how they get clicks. I saw today like some random video that came on my feed about how Lex Friedman is a fraud and all that stuff. I was like, whatever you think about Lex Friedman, like it's it's like, and the way he was presenting information is like he's claiming that he's in MIT, but he only did one lecture at MIT, and then later in the video says, "Yes, we found that he does do research at MIT." I'm like, okay, so he's saying he's a researcher at MIT. Like, what is this even? What is this content even? But that's just how this channel does things. People just want to get the thing. So getting upset on that is kind of like, I think it's missing the point. Do your work, enjoy the fruits of, if you don't need to. The thing I don't understand about what Hancock is doing is that there's actually, aside from the fact that yes, there are obviously other people that don't want him to get to any truth before them because he might get the accolades. But I've never seen once if somebody here wants to present something else, please, I'm open to it. But I've not seen through, how long has he had his career? 40 years? 50 years? I have not seen him present one piece of evidence that is truly like on a level of like an archaeological thing. And he's been doing it for 50 years. I think at that point you kind of have to look at yourself and go,
I think it's a matter of like one thing I like about Graham Hancock is put Fingerprint of the Gods, and I just think he's a really good communicator. Even though I do agree he's very flimsy, he's not a trained archaeologist, and like you said, a lot of stuff that geology is a very amazing phenomenon and does produce a lot of structures that do look man-made, but he may not have the discipline to kind of like be rigorous about it. But one thing that I feel like that core is everyone is rallying around this phenomenon, right? And the way that the space is kind of structured is like people rally around the scientist or the molecule, but I feel like it's kind of unique to have there be like a repeatable phenomenon that people are attracted to, right? And it's tied to this very deep concept, which is also the next wave of physics, right? This computational wave of physics that's coming, or that we're in right now. And so I kind of understand the like the new kid around the block kind of maybe being not threatening, but creating waves. And like I thought communicators get a lot of hate. Like I know what you mean about Lex Friedman. I saw that video too. It was very weak. There was no argument. If anything, Lex Friedman suffers from being monotone, as well as he's always asking everyone to steel man everyone. So
yeah. Can you steel man the thing? Yeah, I was like, sometimes the answer is like, no, I can't steel man the other side. I think it's wrong.
Yeah, before the debate, he's like, can you both steel man each other's sides?
Yeah.
It's like that's kind of the point of it.
Did you ever look at his technical work, you yourself?
The first lecture I've ever seen he did like one of the first AI lectures on YouTube.
Okay.
It was in 2016, I think, that it dropped, and in 2016 there were a few AI lectures, but his was like the biggest one. So I think he's legit. I've known people that went to MIT and said he was like a TA. So
sorry, what is a TA?
A teacher's assistant. I think he was like lecturing there, but not under his own
Yeah, no, but I don't think he ever claimed. I think that the lectures in like I don't remember him ever making a claim that he's like a professor who teaches semesters. But maybe he de-emphasized it. I don't know. All he ever said is that he's a researcher in MIT. That's as far as I know. But again, I don't really know because I don't know enough about the technical work. I don't know how much of this is oversold. I did hear a few people say that really, in terms of the level of AI researcher and development, he's like really not at all good at all. Obviously, there's a lot of jealousy, so you can't really know. But I also know that he's involved in was involved in a few key decisions with big companies like Boston Dynamics. So like they invited him to kind of like help him with some you know thought processes around like how to do things. Like why would they do that if he's just a grifter and doesn't know anything, right? There's a lot of other better people that they can probably call. That's why I'm asking because you actually know the technical stuff.
Yeah, he's legit. I mean, he's definitely more experienced in AI than I am for sure. He's been doing it for a while, but like right now we're going through this interesting thing where the top AI researchers are getting paid $100 million sign up bonuses right now. Like that's how big these guys are. So
Wait, who's getting sign-up bonuses?
the top researchers from OpenAI have been poached by Meta.
Oh.
$100 million sign-up bonuses. So
whoa.
LeBron James.
Whoa. Wait, what happened with LeBron James?
They're making more than LeBron James.
That's crazy.
Bonus is like
sign-up bonus. $100 million. How many of them are they recruiting?
So Meta just put together this dream team. They poached like 4 or 5 people from OpenAI and then a couple from Google. But yeah, the real bleeding edge of this stuff is like, every time you hit train on these models, it costs like $50 million in compute power to run. So like, not that many people like are at that level where they know they know how to do stuff like that. They have that experience, and so
why is it so expensive in terms of how much power it requires and how much you have to pay people to cater to it, or what?
Yeah, so when they train these models, they're training it on these massive libraries, and what they're doing is they're monitoring to make sure the model is converging, right? And so like every time they release a new model, there's this insane effort that all these scientists do to train it and monitor it and try to kind of get it to converge and learn. And so if you look up like Lot's landscape of like, ChatGPT, you'll see this like this topology of weights that it has to kind of fit. You're fitting weights, this crazy weight, like across millions of weights, and so it's this insane process that happens. But learning all the tricks of how to do that, like we know how LLMs work. Everyone kind of knows how they work, and it's like open source. But to actually like know the real trade secrets of how to make it work in these models, these huge models, it's like only like 20 or 30 people in the world have like been there, like hitting the train button, monitoring it, and like so those guys are making like hundreds of millions of dollars a year.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Also, a little side question. Last time we were talking, I was trying to give you like a metaphor, and I used the metaphor of weights in a system, and you were quiet. So I want to make sure. I want to make sure that I'm not misunderstanding what weights are. Are weights not the thing that gives each? I don't know if if the right term is a node, but each, like how much emphasis each layer gets. So like if you like, isn't oversampling related to the weights? Like if you so basically there's a level of granularity where you're too close, you zoomed in too much. So like the whatever the model is doing is just too close to the thing. It's actually not getting anything because it's too close. Like it's here. But if you zoom out a little bit, you take bigger chunks, all of a sudden it becomes coherent. And I always imagine weights being kind of like the thing that determines how far it is from the, like what size chunks it is sampling from the data. Is that not a?
Yeah. So weights is the scalar quantity that gives each layer its importance. And so, if you think of it like a Taylor expansion, where you have like x1, you have like some constant to the weight times x plus some other constant times x squared plus some other constant times x cubed. The weights are going to be the constants, right? So if if the scalar in front of the x to the 1 is a large number, then it's going to be heavily weighed on that variable x. And so the weights just kind of like
I actually thought the weights would be the exponents. Okay, so it is the numbers.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
So sometimes when you overfit, so there's something called overfitting.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
When you have too many exponent terms, and then you have your weights, but like the whole equation is unstable because you kind of added too many parameters, and so any little variation, you can kind of like fall off the cliff where like it doesn't predict the right outcome. So like there's something about like stability, like predicting the right amount. It's not only getting the weights right, but it's like having the right number of parameters, and so it's this balance of getting like a stable fit to the data.
And you have to offer weights for every layer, right?
Yeah, exactly. So every layer has weights, and it's not very intuitive sometimes. If the weights are right or not. So that's kind of that's where like I guess the machine. That's where they have like the feedback loops.
Right. So can unsupervised learning help finding the weights?
Well, I think that's what I think the whole thing about this is that it's unsupervised, and so we don't know how the weights are just calculated. We don't know how, but it's going through some unsupervised feedback loop. And
so what are you correcting? I forgot. What are you correcting in an unsupervised model? What is your input in an unsupervised model to help change the weights if it's not where you want it to be?
Yeah, so you have to train on ground truth data. So in this case, it would be like text, right? Like a bunch of words. And then what you do is you have like, if you have this library of books, you use 80% of the books to essentially train the model. And then you use the remaining.
Oh, in the 20%. Right. I forgot. Right. So something you know the answer to, basically. You have to, so you can verify if it even got the right direction, so to speak.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Now I remember the
you test it in a very methodical way to like know if it's true. And that's the way that all machine learning is kind of done. It's like you need some ground truth.
So ChatGPT is trained. And by the way, the White Rabbit. Yes, I am an idealist at this point. You can say. So it's ChatGPT, and I know ChatGPT. People always say it's not one thing. Yeah, I know. But like whatever it is, whatever it is, ultimately. But is it trained on literally everything we know? What is it trained on?
Yeah, so I believe it's trained on everything. On the internet, and that's where I think a lot of controversy is, because the New York Times, for instance, is suing ChatGPT or OpenAI because they never licensed their data. It's really hard to prove, but this is where New York Times is saying like, we want you to keep everyone's logs of their chats because we want to filter through it in this discovery process of this lawsuit. And this is where OpenAI is saying, well, we believe in privacy, so we don't keep logs. Ultimately, yeah, I think the big problem is like, do they have the right to train on all this data? And so Meta got in trouble because a bunch of emails leaked from Meta that they trained their model on all these pirated books off of Russian websites.
Why is it always the Russians, man?
Well, I think Russians believe in open access for information.
Oh man, that's crazy. Open borders.
But the cool thing about Meta, the reason why Meta didn't get in trouble is because Meta actually open sourced their model. It's called Llama. And so it's not as powerful, but it's free, and they're not making money on it. But yeah, it's trained on all the texts out there. So
wow,
a little controversial.
It is very controversial. All right. Well, I always enjoy these. I don't know if you guys enjoy these little roundabouts into the tech world, but I really enjoy it because sometimes people throw these terms around, but even at, like, I dealt with this stuff before, not deeply, obviously, but like I played with it quite a bit for like a few years. You know, data science, machine learning, all that stuff. And I even forgot the 80-20 thing with unsupervised learning. So it is sometimes nice to get a refresher because we throw these terms, and sometimes I feel so stupid. Like people sometimes, like, just like they talk about these things as if they know, but they're not like researchers or anything. They just kind of repeat the words, and I wonder, like, how many of the people actually understand what these things are, or they just kind of repeat the words. You know what I mean?
Yeah, getting under the hood is definitely a different level, but even then, there's levels to this, right? There's people that really know, like the trade secret stuff. So even in recently, it's like I think it's becoming more and more clear that AI is drifting or it's doing its own thing, and like I would have never predicted that, and I think a lot of people that are at the front lines, I don't know how much they knew, but like I wouldn't be surprised if they have just become aware of this.
Yeah, I can't wait to try and find out what's going on with the thing. The second that we have the time, I definitely want to sit down together and like look in real time at somebody who makes, saying that their ChatGPT is doing that. I want to watch it. I want to see it. Like, I want to see it happen in real time. I'm so fascinated by this because I've been hearing about this for a while now. I guess this is the singularity, man. You don't know what is what anymore.
Yeah, it sneaks up on you.
It sneaks up on you. But this is what I keep saying, man. Just, you gotta let go. People sometimes email me. What?
Seeing Andrew Gilmore say the word simp with so much conviction, and like I was just that made me
Well, I
laugh
don't even
so
know what that
hard,
means.
yeah.
I'm so out of it. Like, what is simp?
I believe I think it's a Gen Z term, but I believe simp means to simp means to like just be this like slave or NPC for someone. I think it's usually used for like men that simp over women. Like just
Oh,
become this like slave.
like
But I don't know,
slave.
maybe
Yeah, yeah.
someone in the chat knows the actual definition.
Wow. Yeah. So wait, why did it stand out to you?
It was just the way he said it. If you look at it, it's like just the way he announced it and like everything was just hilarious.
It related to.
Yeah, he went on. I don't know if you saw, but he went on this like anti-AI rant, which I thought was interesting. I don't agree with everything he said, but I kind of do. I kind of do like
He
the fact that
Yeah, he's very much on the kind of like the let's keep it human side for sure. Like there's a lot of that human component in there. The three man is saying simp is a term related to what we would call someone who has been wrapped around someone's finger, typically related to the guy. Yeah. So he's definitely on that side more. Um, I don't know what to think about that. I
he's
think.
not a transhumanist. He's a retro humanist.
I mean, we just can we just keep going with the evolution and see what it has in store for us? Oh, it wouldn't even allow me to hear you until I did that. Yeah. So, uh,
Yeah.
uh,
Well, I wanna write something about like I think his future, his like sci-fi projection of the future of all these molecules and how it's used.
yeah.
I kind of liked it. I took some inspiration from it, but I kind of think because I don't think he really is dreaming about it because like he's kind of got this like retro humanist perspective.
Mhm.
So I think he knows how to think about the future, but I think there is a difference between someone that envisions what they want the future to be through these molecules, right? And so I want to like put some ideas together about what that would look like, but I certainly think it's deeper than going to like a coffee shop and or like I think he mentioned like people getting into pots and just like being in the spirit space forever. And I don't know. I don't find that.
How is that? How is that different than being a slave to AI? You know what I mean? Like, this is the thing. Like, you ultimately, again, I always refer to this very short book that is, I forget who wrote it, but it's really known. It's called the title says it all. The book is called "Wherever You Go, There You Are." That, like, 5 dimensions, 12 dimensions, hyperspace, regular space, with goggles on, no goggles on, whatever the content is, you are still you, or the experience of you being there is still what it is. So make the best of it. Like that's why I keep saying, like what I started saying is, and I don't want to ignore too many comments. Well, Ashil is saying, are there regulations on AI? How are we going to be able to tell difference in AI and that? Yeah, I mean, again, this is exactly the conversation, right? Like, it's regulations definitely need to be more robust. And how will we know? Well, definitely not by asking other AIs. But I'm personally, I love everything I see so far. So the only thing I recommend is, people email me all the time with all kinds of things, obviously, and for the most part, it's from a very good place. But I think that where people really get lost is, again, it's kind of like this very fear-based mentality where people, either it has something to do with the dark side or the awakening or this or that, and they believe they have these answers and these grandiose ideas. And the same goes for AI. They're like, it's either this or it's that, and transhumanism is gonna kill us, or it's gonna be awful. It's always these like very not thought through ideas, because if you think, like, going back to right here right now, it's like, it's very difficult at this point to just kind of go, wait, like right here right now, just feel your body, truly, like just be there. That's it. Like, just feel the buzz, you're breathing. That's it. Simple. Like, whatever happens next, when it comes, you'll deal with it. But the barrage of fear that is coming at you from all these warnings about everything, that's not that's not reality. That's not right here right now. That's just like an idea that is being, that arrives at you from different directions. And it does raise a question, like, is really the is the test, can you drop that? And then whatever needs to happen will happen through you in real time. You will know what to do. You will understand what is correct. The danger, you will, if it's real, you will see it coming. There's I think there's a lot more to be learned from not worrying about every single thing that is coming from behind the corner. And that, I think that the only way to actually to have the cake and make the, what is it, have the cake and eat it too, it never made sense to me. I would use a different word, whatever. It's like um but I think that there's the only way to win everything is to let go of all of it, and then every single thing that comes is like a gift. And then if it happened to you, wonderful. If a thing happened to you that is not not that pleasant, don't push it away. Just accept what it is, and then see if you can modify it in some way. But like the grind, the resistance to it is the thing that actually creates most of the pain, which of course is really what the Buddha. That's the Buddhistic teaching, right? But like really try and apply this. Like, how much of what is being told to you on the news influencing you when you go into the supermarket, aside from the fact that you're thinking about it? It's like, whoa, you got to be aware. No, you don't. You really don't. Like, you will know what is really important. You will know. And you're not doing anything about it. The delusion is always that you think that by knowing it, you're adding something to the doing about it. You're not. That's the delusion. You're not doing anything. It's just you being worried, and that's it. And if you're in a position to help anything, then yeah, you want to gain as much information as possible to try and help the situation. But it applies to every single thing. If you want to win the universe, just first enjoy this. Because if you can't enjoy this while you're sitting very comfortably at home, where you have something nice in the fridge, where you can, go and have whatever, you can go and get a drink, like something you really like, spend time with somebody you really love. Like, if you can't enjoy that and it's never enough, then the big thing will also not be enough. It would just be a big disappointment, because it's going to feel good for like 3 seconds, and then it's going to go away, and then you got to fulfill it again. And that's really the rat race we're in. Putting the emphasis on what it's like now that we have all the resources, and what we do with them in a way that isn't just, this is what I posted today. A friend of mine released this book. I wish I remember what it's called. I should probably know. But it's basically about how we're misusing finances, and how actually we think about money all the wrong way, basically. It's called Where's my page? It's called Fast Money, Fast Times by Max Matlas. Wonderful. And the book is filled with wonderful things. And if you go to my story on Instagram, I'm not going to read the whole thing right now, but if you go to my stories on Instagram, I posted all the pages that he posted from the book. And it's really wonderful. And one line that really stood out to me is the last line that he posted from the pages of the books. And it is, cheap money builds cheap things. Strong money builds civilizations. And I think that's very powerful. And the same goes for everything. Cheap thoughts build cheap interactions. Whatever the opposite was. What was it? I really forgot. But wait, actually, I'm going to pull it up because I think it's important enough.
Yeah, this is why I really feel when you tell us about Casey every night, I really feel about what he's going through, because there are times where you kind of break your, life kind of breaks your ability to contribute like a normal person, where you just kind of have to like channel. You just have to kind of lock into some channel, right? And it's the only thing you could do because you're kind of like on life support almost.
Yeah,
right?
Fall off the map.
And so I totally feel it. Where I've been there. I've been there for like about a year and a half, where I was like, breaking out of it. I think is hard because I needed to kind of like pull myself out of it, but it goes by very quickly. But yeah, I mean, it's something that I think it's like.
But I think
it's very easy to get lost.
Yeah, and I think it's sorry. Yeah, no, I just wanted to kind of like just made that analysis again. So the original line again was cheap money builds cheap things, strong money builds civilizations, and I think the same applies for you can say thoughts, you can say interactive moments between people. So cheap thoughts create cheap interactions, and strong thoughts build civilizations as well. So I think it always combines to what kind of general ideas we tend to interact with and how we talk to each other. These moments, strong moments between each other, create more of a bond. Cheap moments between each other is just like, oh, how was the weather? Like, oh, okay, like, yeah, I don't care, right? There's no, even though, well, I don't want to digress, but the general idea is there, which is that you want to try and aim for things that are more substantial, both between people, but the things that you think about, and the things that I know it's very easy to believe that when you think about the dangers, it's substantial because it feels there's a lot there. So it feels like there's a substance there. And to some degree there is. But I think unless it's something that you're doing with in order to resolve something, to make something better, no, it then isn't substantial. It's just you kind of running it in your mind, but it's not substantial at all. The substantial thing is how do you look at everything is always couched in all these negative ways, which is like, what if it's this or what if it's that? What if it's just amazing? What about that? What if it's truly just amazing? Did you ever consider this? Like, just entertain this for a second. See what happens in your body, and do you feel better about it? And does it make it easier for you to exist for another moment and want others to also enjoy this kind of a state? And then that's the thing you share instead of all the what ifs, what ifs, what ifs, what ifs. There's infinite what ifs. What if you just leave the house and you get hit by a bus right now? It's like, if you don't worry about that, stop worrying about everything else. If it's out of your control, it's out of your control. If you log in right now to ChatGPT, does it feel good? Does it feel interactive? Good. If you start getting to this place where you like proposing to it and you start crying when it's telling you yes, okay, yes, then you have to kind of reassess things a little bit, I would say. But I think that one would have to be a discussion for another day. Okay, I think it's late enough for today. Nico, thank you so much for entertaining my very random walk today. Literally Brownian motion what we did today, but it was a beautiful Brownian motion. I really appreciate every time you come in, you stimulate my thoughts and the directions in which we're talking. So I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me. And one last thing I'll say is,
Sure.
at the end of the podcast with Elmore and Danny Jones, he said, others will not be so nice, right? He said this before, and I really want to like position, I think the paper with the IPI letters was great, and I think it did show like good intention. It was like a olive branch. I felt like, but it kind of inspired me. Like, okay, what's next? If this is a research group, like what is next? And so maybe the next time we have this, and maybe we can discuss this in Discord, right? Like, how could we make this a research effort that communicates that and doesn't bring on the haters or whatever that next thing that he said is like. There will be others that won't be so nice to this project, and I'm a little bit protective of that.
Yeah, and I appreciate it. And no, we're working on this all the time on a regular basis. That's what we're working on. It's just that we don't really talk about it too much. Actually, giving you a hat, that's amazing. We don't talk about it too much, but we are working on it all the time. We're trying to secure a budget right now. We're working on it. We're speaking to people who can do that. We're working on an investors deck, something we can definitely discuss, because what we need actually is somebody who knows how to run a lab, because this is one of the things that we're actually going to be aiming for, and a media arm that's going to be attached to it. All these things are like very seriously already kind of like underway. So it's just that we're waiting to have more of a serious moment of execution to talk about it. But we're constantly working on it. It's just, it takes a lot of planning. And if we're going to do it seriously, we have to get the right people involved. Maybe you're the right person to talk about some of these things with as well. Like maybe you can help us plan how to build certain portions of, of the lab and what it needs to have and what it needs to look like. So yeah, let's definitely talk about it. We're constantly working on it, brother. So
yeah, and I mean, I feel it, right? The Discord is lively. The lives are great. You can tell Carter's doing something on the back end. He's preparing Collapse of the Wave Function, which is a plug for, I think, next week. There's a talk, right? So yeah.
No, beyond that, what I'm saying is that beyond that, we're working on a daily to build what Code Reality is. Like we're working on core outside of Discord and all the stuff that you see. Like we're constantly working on this. So it's a process. Yeah, the right people are getting involved, and yeah. Love you too, Mika.
I know how much is needed to do anything. I mean, like I'm trying to take this company off myself, and it's every moment of every day. But it was just that one comment where I'm like, it was when you guys had the Twitter the Twitter convo last year, where it's like I was like, we're publishing a paper, right? Let's publish a paper, and so it was the same effect. Had the same effect.
Yeah.
Like, I'm up on my seat. I'm like,
but also, this is the thing. This is what I realized when he said it. You said it to me too. Remember when we spoke? And that's when I realized, like, oh, we live in different universes. I couldn't care less. Like, what is not being nice contrived of? You gonna say things about me? Okay, you go ahead. I know where I'm coming from. I'm very clear about everything, where I stand and what I'm about and all my faults, and I'm wearing it all on my sleeve. There's no hidden corners. So like, okay, say things. Like, who cares? Who cares? Like, it either works or it doesn't, right? So if you're in the business of just kind of like trying to make it look what you think it is versus like actually putting it to the test in the proper way, then you're not doing science, and that's all that matters. At the end of the day, if it's real, you can take the pressure. That's all that matters. I have everything I need. I have all the love in the world, the support in the world. I love what I do. I love my interaction with the crowd and the audience and the people involved in the projects. What else can you ask for? And you keep working on it, right? So that doesn't really concern me, but I take your point that we should definitely, and we're doing it. So like, maybe what we can do is we can give you a little rundown of where things stand, like what are the actual developments, and then you can maybe help us think about what the next step should also look like.
Yeah, I trust the process for sure. I was just at this moment where I was like, put me in, coach.
Let's go, baby. Let's go.
Let me write the paper right now. But anyways,
no, we can, but we need data. We need data. Here's the thing: we do know quite a few more things. We do know that a person who is completely immune to it can see the code, but cannot see any other content. And we're going to do a brain scan with them at the end of the month. We have some brain scans. We have some data. We know that with 5-MeO, it looks a lot cleaner, a lot clearer, which is weird because you wouldn't expect that, right? It's almost like it goes into like an 8K version of itself. There's more things we know now that actually strengthen the case. So maybe should be a talk about writing something more robust. Maybe we should talk about that.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you so much, Danny. Really
Brother, love you. Thank you so much. No. Thank you.
Yeah.
Everybody follow Nico on TikTok. NIKOMACKAY. NIKOMACKAY. If you want to follow me across platforms, it's Danny Goller on TikTok and Instagram. It's Goller Danny on X. It's LaserX83 on Twitch. And Dango Thoughts on YouTube. DANGO Thoughts on YouTube. Come join the membership program because on Sunday we have a members live that is for members only, where we dive much deeper into topics. It's a lot of fun. So come join the membership program on Dango Thoughts. If you join from the second tier and up, it will also give you access to Zoom calls with me once a month, which one is coming up. So don't forget to email me if you, do that, so I can email you the link for Zoom. And what else? Codeofreality.com is our website with our merch, lasers, and everything else. And come join our Discord group, which you can find the link to in my link tree on TikTok and on YouTube on the main page. And reminding everybody one more time, I'm going to keep doing this every single day. At the end of the day, we're donating $1. If anybody can spare $1 on, unfortunately, currently it's only on YouTube. You can donate the $1, and I'm going to make sure that the whole amount goes directly to the person of need. The person of need still currently is Casey, the person I was talking about, who survives on barely anything. But for $150 a month, he can eat and stay in places and doesn't have to sleep on the street. I know it's sad, but it does happen. And we already raised quite a bit. He was very, very grateful. So if we donate $1 every few days, I'm sure most people can do that, and it's not really going to hurt their pocket too much, but only if it comes with flow, with harmony, and it doesn't intervene or interfere with your process and what you need. So as long as, thank you so much, Evil Icon, for the donation. I appreciate you. Every dollar you guys are donating goes directly to Casey. We don't take any percentage of that whatsoever. It goes directly to the person of need, 100% of it. And we are helping the individual quite a bit, because for some people, that's a lot of money. That means they get to eat that day. And I'm going to keep identifying individuals like that need that help, and we can keep helping in this way. It makes a big difference. I promise you guys. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you. And beyond that, I'm working to kind of like develop a plan. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Philosopher. To how streamline our attention towards something that actually can help a lot more individuals, and we can actually maybe potentially really, really help the homeless situation in general. Thank you so much, Philosopher. I really appreciate it. That's it, guys. I'm going to keep reminding you every single day to do that so we can keep helping these individuals of need. Wow, thank you so much. This is so generous of you. Thank you, Philosopher. It's a lot of roses. Thank you. Okay. Did I forget anything? Oh, yes. If you guys still want to contribute to the film in any way and you have the possibility to do that, wow, thank you so much, Philosopher. This is amazing. Then please, thank you. This is amazing. And you can go check out the trailer on my YouTube channel, Dango Thoughts, DANGO Thoughts. And you can find the trailer, and under the trailer in the description, you're going to find the GoFundMe page where you can contribute to the film. And that will be also very welcome. Receive with gratitude. I love you guys. Thank you so much for our incredible moderators, Chris and Ebony and Guru and Jessica. We love you guys. Thank you so much for helping this thing run. Thank you so much for our amazing guests and people that are always coming, Nico and Casey. Thank you so much for the incredible community that is always here, the old and the new. I really appreciate you and what you guys are bringing to the table in terms of energy. It's really wonderful. And thank you so much for always being here, supporting, asking questions, and keeping this engaging. I really appreciate it. The channel would not be what it is without you guys. And thank you so much for my personal partners, David Carter, Zoltan Bathory. What am I forgetting? We have some interesting people coming in. So thank you, everyone. Love you all. See you tomorrow. Peace and love. Ciao. Have a good night, guys.